Hello PUBG friends, and welcome to another episode of PUBG Pull-Ups, the show where we study how your America's pros fight it out in the ever-shrinking competitive circle. Last week was no exception to this, as the circle was absolutely cruel to all of our teams. We're going to be taking a look at Week 2 match number 10 Dignitas win and how their awareness and movement set them up for a chicken dinner.
Yumba is weak in having two members, so it is a 2v2. Shinboy's got to be careful. He's got the zone right back behind him. Long range toss going to come in. That looks like it might be lined up pretty good. Is it going to go far enough? And Emmy's got to run ahead at that toss! That toss cemented it for Dignitas!
Due to the nature of so little cover, we're already seeing at Circle 6, we're down to our top 4 teams already. Let's try to keep our focus on Dignitas and how they use the choices of other teams around them to their advantage and make it to the end game. Dig is already rough off in a pretty difficult position. Down to 3 members already, and at the edge of a zone, and there is an absolute drought of cover in front of them. Outside of Dignitas, everybody is to the north. TSM to the west, Fiumba to the east, and Sonics very close to TSM's position, but all of these teams have vision and potential firing angles on Dignitas the moment that they have to move. There are several key factors to look at. Terrain, to the south, there's only a couple of trees and very little cover to the west outside of Dignitas' present position. The road, that's cutting right through the center of the circle and provides absolutely no cover at all, and also opens up clear sightlines from the other teams. There's a small dip just north of the road that people tend to like to play from, because there's a wall just a little bit north of that provides a little bit of cover to both sides if you can manage to make it into the dip. Lastly, there's all the airplanes that are the wreckage inside the airplane graveyard itself. Another factor against them is time. We are still in Circle 6 at this stage, and Dignitas is already at the edge of the circle in a difficult position and likely going to have to move. Circle 7 pops, TSM is going to have to now move into Sonic's direction. They choose to do so by doing a little bit of parkour and climbing up on the wrecked planes to get an advantage and a surprise position on top of the Sonics. There's only 2 Sonics alive at this time, Hambino and Shrimzy. TSM's surprise angle absolutely catches them unaware, and Hambino goes down and is quickly flushed. Shrimzy, though, quickly responds, realizes what's going on, and at least manages to do a little bit of damage control and stay alive, but he knows he is in a very precarious position. Whenever TSM takes those shots, it's going to allow Dignitas and Fiumba to spot them and take counterplays, shots against them, forcing TSM back away from Shrimzy before they can get the kill onto him. After a few adjustments, Shrimzy manages to drop 2 grenades right on top of Luke 12 to wipe him out. Dignitas decide to use this moment to hop in their vehicles and hopefully try to make it into that covered position into the west. Unfortunately, while all this was going on with Sonics and TSM, Fiumba still has that vision, and the distraction isn't long enough as one of the members for Dignitas instantly gets dropped while they're trying to make it to the new cover point. With Dignitas repositioning, Shrimzy decides to take advantage and make a shift around and see if he can maybe push onto TSM, surprising them this time. Valiant though the attempt is, it comes to nothing except for another bit of distraction. Fiumba now needs to make their move, and that distraction that Shrimzy provided is going to be the opportunity that they choose to take, as they're going to use that to try to send it to a hillside right next to the wall we were talking about beforehand. TSM realizes that the close threat is now Fiumba and has to move close and focus their attention on that direction because they themselves were wanting to move to that wall and set up on a point. Dignitas uses this opportunity to make a very bold reposition. Shinboy runs out into the open to the nearby tree, gaining a new firing angle with Sparking staying behind, hoping that these 2 lines will provide them something that they can work with here in just a second. Fiumba opts to res, while TSM uses this opportunity to move to the opposite side of the wall, to the south, closer towards the road, so that way that they have the wall in between them. After stabilizing with their reses, Fiumba opts to do the same. Now TSM and Fiumba are too close, and they have to deal with each other in a very dangerous position. The fight destroys each other, with the last bit of damage being done to TSM by the blue because there is so minimal vision on what's going on. Now at this point, the game has shifted into a 2v2 situation, and remember, Dignitas has those 2 different firing lines. Fiumba is now up against the blue wall. They've got a little bit of a dip that they can play right next to the road, but they can't even stand up without having harassing shots coming out from Dignitas. They start trying to crawl their way forward, but just like with TSM, it's going to be a combination of the blue zone ticking in for a little bit of damage and a beautifully long-range tossed grenade coming out to finish off Fiumba to give Dignitas the victory. Inside of this fight, Dignitas should have died multiple times, across multiple circles, but due to solid timing and mitigating their risks and realizing when other teams are fighting, they found a way to navigate what should be a very deadly situation and survive it by the skin of their teeth. And that's it for this episode of PUBG Pull-Ups. I hope you guys had fun. If you're down for some more America's action, don't forget the fact that we still have PCS5 that's going on right now, and whoever wins this is going to be moving on to PGC that's popping off in November. Make sure you guys stay tuned. I'll see you then.